Laura Newsberg's show this morning on BBC One was dominated by the strike decisions by the Royal College of Nursing, the decision by Unison and so on, and the junior doctors, and the sort of impact this is having across the health service. Apparently, there's an 80% increase in inquiries about private healthcare. And, because if people don't feel safe, and people don't feel safe, why would they feel safe when the RCN has now said it's going to strike on the 30th of April and that it doesn't seem to be leaving any serious plans for treating emergencies and patients in need? Pat Cullen said on the programme that other unions would probably still be or that other nurses would still be working because they belong to other unions. But that's a pie in the sky, pie crust promise that somebody might be there. It's not a serious plan. Laura Newsberg said that, if there was a serious problem, yes, if there was a serious problem, but then she said, but what about individual patients? And Pat Cullen simply cannot be drawn on this. It is hugely regrettable. And then we get to the details. The Royal College of Nursing wanted 19%, would settle for 10%, were offered 5% with a bonus. This was rejected. And yet Pat Cullen had said it was a fair offer. She denied this to Laura Newsberg. She said it was the best offer we can get from this government at this time. But now she said they need a fair, reasonable and historic offer. They need to put money on the table. She's also faced with a vote of no confidence. There's some sort of talk about fraudulent behaviour there. There's an investigation about this, but there is a strike. There's a serious prospect of strikes continuing not over the summer, but until Christmas. And the area that I would flag up is the fact that Steve Barclay simply isn't sitting around a table and negotiating. Steve Barclay seems to be posturing and posting articles in The Sun. That's not his job. It's the job of a journalist to post an article in The Sun. It's the job of the Secretary of State to get round a table and sort out the problem so that people's lives are not put in danger. Wes Streeting, because Steve Barclay can't be bothered to go on this programme, Wes Streeting was brought on. He's the opposition spokesperson for health, and he was very reluctant to be drawn on whether or not he would offer the nurses 10% or 19% or whatever. He said that 19% is too much, but he decries the dereliction of leadership. He is disappointed by the fact that plans aren't being put in place by the nurses to care for their patients when they go out on strike. He's concerned that Rishi Sunak doesn't want to get involved in this. He's got involved in everything else, but the Prime Minister does not want to get in the middle of this, apparently. Does he back the RCN? He won't be drawn on this, but he wants the government to negotiate. He says that the Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, is a passive observer of this. He has gone on record as saying that the junior doctors are maddening, but he talks about the effort to stop burnout, to stop these situations where you've got understaffed shift work. Matthew Taylor, who is the chief executive of the NHS Confederation, says that he is now in limbo. Well, he should now be in negotiation, surely. What I don't understand about all this is the reluctance of individuals to say what they mean, and indeed the reluctance of those people who can bring all this to an end to get round a table and start talking. The idea of posturing, the idea of delaying, the idea of muting conversations is not negotiation. that is delay, and that is causing patients real concern, real heartache, and yes, indeed, driving those who can pay to look for private health insurance. But of course, those people who are looking for private health insurance will have a rude awakening, because private health insurance is really only accessible in this country through some element of National Health Service recommendation. So private healthcare is not really what is all cracked up to be. So I just give you that warning. And what we need for our health service is a complete rethink. We need a rethink, and we need to get rid of the maddening bureaucracy, not only in the National Health Service, but indeed in the private healthcare as well. People need to say what they mean, rather than use words in some sort of weaselly way to avoid taking responsibility. Healthcare is something for which we must take responsibility, and we can't duck that. People's lives are at risk. And this language of ducking and diving, this language of wheeler-dealering, is the language of selling second-hand cars, and it's inappropriate.